You know that old financial advice we've all been hearing for years? Cash is king. Build a huge emergency fund. Be safe. But what if I told you that all that safety, beyond a certain point, it's not just holding you back, it's actually making you poor?
So let's just get right to it and ask the big question. Is that safety net that you've worked so hard to build secretly dragging you down? Because the comfort that cash gives you, well, it comes at a very steep and often totally hidden price.
And here it is. This is the price tag. Over just 10 years, being too safe with your money could literally cost you $20,000. Now that's not some made-up number. That's the real, tangible cost of comfort, the money you're basically setting on fire by holding on to too much cash. Let's break down exactly how that happens.
It all comes down to what we're calling the high price of safety. See, having some cash is absolutely essential. We all need it. It gives us security, peace of mind. But here's the catch. Safety has diminishing returns. The more you add, the less benefit you get, while the cost of holding it just keeps going up and up.
I mean, you've heard it a million times, right? From Vanguard to Morgan Stanley, they all say the same thing. Save 3 to 6 months of living expenses. And look, that's a great starting point, but it's just that, a start. It's an average, not a law written in stone. And blindly following it, or even worse, thinking that 12 months must be twice as good, could be a very, very expensive mistake.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on. Your big pile of cash is actually under constant attack from two silent enemies, and they are always working to erode its value, whether you can see it happening or not.
Let's think about it like this. Inflation, that's kind of like a slow, steady leak in your car's tire. It's subtle, but it's guaranteed to happen over time. Opportunity cost, on the other hand, whoa, that's like someone coming along and just slashing the tire. It's a sudden, massive loss of what could have been. So one guarantees you lose a little bit, while the other stops you from gaining a whole lot.
So here's the thing you absolutely have to understand about inflation. It's a guaranteed loss. Even if you've got your money in a high-yield savings account that's paying, say, 4%, but inflation is running at 5%, you're still getting a real return of -1%. You are losing wealth, plain and simple. Over a decade, that little 1% loss erases 10% of your money's real value. It's like an invisible tax you paid just for feeling safe.
And if that wasn't bad enough, you've got opportunity cost hitting you with a 1-2 punch. While your cash is busy getting eaten away by inflation, it's also missing out on the 5, 7, maybe 8% gains it could be making somewhere else. Your extra cash is basically unemployed capital. It's not working for you. You're actually paying to let it sit around and lose its value.
And this chart, man, it just lays it all out perfectly. Let's say you really only need an $18,000 emergency fund, but you're holding on to $50,000 for that extra safety. Well, that's $32,000 of lazy money. In 10 years, that extra cash will actually be worth less than it is today. But if you had invested it, even in a pretty boring, modest portfolio, it could have grown to nearly $50,000. That gap right there between those two outcomes, that's the $20,000 we started with.
So, if the math is a total no-brainer, why on earth do we keep doing this? Well, it turns out it has nothing to do with logic. It's all about psychology. Our brains are basically hardwired to make this exact mistake.
It boils down to this quirky thing our brains do called loss aversion. We are biologically built to avoid immediate threats. So the pain of seeing our investment account drop by $100 actually feels twice as bad as the joy we get from seeing it go up by that same amount. We hoard cash to avoid that short-term emotional sting, even if it guarantees a long-term financial loss.
And look, the numbers don't lie. Research from Vanguard actually shows that going from zero to your first $2,000 in savings, that gives you a massive 21% boost to your sense of well-being. Awesome. Building that up to a proper 3 to 6 month fund gives you another solid 13% boost. But after that, the curve just totally flattens out. You get almost no additional psychological security for all that extra cash.
Let that sink in for a second. Once you have a reasonable buffer, you are literally paying thousands of dollars in lost growth for a feeling of safety that the data shows you aren't even getting. You're chasing a ghost.
All right, so what do we do about this? How do we fix it? We need to move from just guessing to actually calculating. It's time to find your specific sleep well at night number, or your SWN number. And this is a personalized calculation, not some generic rule.
It's actually a super simple two-step formula. First, you calculate your bare bones monthly expenses. And I don't mean your current spending. I mean apocalypse mode, We're talking just rent, utilities, groceries, and the minimum payments on your debt. That's it. Second, you choose a multiplier based on your personal risk level.
And here's the cheat sheet for picking your number. If you've got a really stable job, or you're in a dual-income household, your multiplier is 3 to 4. If you're a single earner or maybe in a more volatile industry, it's 6. And if you're self-employed, a freelancer, where your income could go to 0 overnight, your multiplier is 9 to 12. Your essentials times your multiplier, that's your SWAN number. Simple as that.
Now this is super important. Treat your SWAN number as a hard limit, a ceiling, not a floor. Once you hit that number, you stop. The bucket is full. Any extra money from here on out has a new job to get invested and start growing for you.
So, that naturally brings us to the next big question, right? What in the world do you do with this extra deployable capital? This is where a lot of people freeze up, but the solution is actually surprisingly simple.
You just match your money to its job based on when you think you'll need it. Any money you'll need in the next year or so, keep it in cash. For goals that are 1 to 5 years away, you can use things like short-term bonds or CDs to protect it from inflation. And for any money you won't need for 5 or more years, that belongs in a diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds where it can really, truly grow.
And please, whatever you do, don't get caught in the liquidity trap. That fear of, but what if I need the money right this second, is way overblown. In modern markets, you can sell an investment and have that cash in your bank account in about 2 days. Is a 2-day wait really worth 10 years of lost growth? No way!
All right, let's wrap this up with a quick checklist to get you started. 1. Calculate your bare bones monthly essentials. 2. Apply your personal risk multiplier, somewhere between 3 and 12, to find your SWAN number. 3. Stop saving cash once you hit that ceiling. And 4. Move all that extra capital into investments that match your timeline.
And we'll end on this thought. You put in the hours, you earned every single dollar. So the question is, are you just going to let that money get lazy and lose value? Or are you going to put it to work to build the future you actually deserve? The choice is yours.